So then we have to send the notices, once we establish all of our values, based on the sales and the income information that we're gathering throughout that year. We mailed assessment notices, I believe this year was May 31st. So this year we had an anomaly. Of course, the last 5 has been an anomaly with the huge market dysfunction that we've had. But this year we had one of the highest increases overall that we have seen in 15 years. Likewise, we had one of the highest decreases in values that we have ever seen over in the last 5 years. We send the 45-day assessment notice that I'm hoping everybody got. That gives anybody the opportunity to file an appeal. You can appeal through a Board of Equalization, through binding arbitration, a hearing officer, or even straight Superior Court. It doesn't cost anything. And we have a lot of folks that file appeals and never follow through. They just want to reserve their right because like I said, it doesn't cost anything to file an appeal. We take appeals, fax, email, mail, walk-in. And what happened a little different than this year was everybody, of course, always waits to the very last to handle their business. Well, this year, going into the last week of appeals, we had 599 appeals, which was nothing. Typically, we'll end up having 2,000 appeals each and every year. That's just the normal course of business for us. In the last week, we had over 1,700 file appeals. So on the last day of appeals and postmarks, we had over 1,000 filed in just that one last day. So everybody waits to the end. We're sitting around for 45 days waiting for the folks to come in, and they'll drizzle in and things like that. But and this was not just in Paulding. We talked to Douglas and Harrelson and Cobb and Cherokee and all our surrounding counties, and they were all in that same boat this year. Of course, I think one thing that we had that was different was we didn't have the media. The media over the last several years has been all over values declining and everything else. Well, one of the biggest problems that we face in our office is we're mailing assessment notices in around the 1st of June. Well, the media reports and everybody's looking at the homes that sold right here in my neighborhood. And they're saying, well, that one just sold for $80,000 and they got me valued at $90,000. Well, the thing is we are using the 12 months preceding January 1. Because January 1 is our date of assessment. So anything that happened after the first of the year, we're going to catch up on it on the following year. And that has been over the last several years. Of course, it doesn't make that big of a difference when the market's increasing, because they see these homes selling in their local market areas right now, and they're saying they got me valued at $90,000 and the house sold for $95,000. Well, that's going to be used in that equation for next year. So you file the appeal to, let's say, a Board of Equalization. They're an independent body. They're set up by the grand jury. They're appointed by the grand jury, and they're that interim between our office and the court system. They're an informal jury. They schedule all their own appointments. We forward them the appeals, and then they take and schedule an appointment and say, come in, bring your side, bring our side, and then we'll make a decision on the value. And then either side can appeal that decision on into Superior Court. If you appeal things like to binding arbitration, I really don't see that all that much. I think we've had 5. I would say that's been around for probably 5 years now. And what that is primarily for commercial properties. It costs you, you have to do a filing fee with the clerk of court, and then they assign an arbitrator, and then we go to a hearing there. A hearing officer is very similar. The hearing officer is for properties over $1 million. So they're primarily for the commercial property owners, because the commercial property owners tend to feel like that the Board of Equalization doesn't understand the complexity of the commercial properties, which it is a different animal altogether valuing the commercial properties. You have income, you have vacancies, you have capitalization rates, you have discounted cash flow, and it just completely goes over everybody's head if you don't deal with these kind of things. So those two are primarily out for the For the commercial higher end properties, typically the commercial property owners, they'll hire what's called a tax rep. There's outfits out there that's all they do, is they appeal taxes and go through that whole process.